Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about riding gloves. If you ask me, these are the most important part of your gear setup after the helmet, because when you fall, you put your hands down first, and unless you're trained like a MotoGP rider, you don't fold your fists or do anything special with your hands while falling down. So you need gloves to protect your hands. While talking about and reviewing the pairs of gloves I have, I'll also tell you how to pick a pair of gloves and what to look at and all those details. Let's get started. First up, we have the Viaterra Fenders. These are the cheapest and the clumsiest gloves. I wouldn't recommend these to anyone as such. So, in terms of protection, they basically have a little piece of cushion here and knuckle protection. That's it. I actually bought these to keep my hands warm during a ride to Wayanad, but even that they didn't do properly because of the mesh that is present here. But yeah, if you ride a scooty very slowly, only in the city, maybe you can get these gloves. These cost 1700, and these are called the Viaterra Fenders, and I wouldn't recommend them to anyone. My main issue with them, other than the lack of safety, is there is no silicone grippy section here. So when you wear it and hold the throttle, your hand just slips over the throttle instead of holding it and twisting the throttle along with your hand. Next up, in terms of price, while going up, we have the Reise Ostras. Without telling me why you need gloves, if you tell me to recommend a pair of gloves, these are the gloves I'd recommend. These have leather construction, palm sliders, which are very important because when you fall and you hit the ground, you don't want your wrist hyperextending and breaking at the wrist, causing fractures. If you have the palm slider, you'll hit the ground and go along with the road and slow down instead of just grabbing the road as you fall. So yeah, in terms of protection, this has hard knuckle protectors, a palm slider, and leather construction on the bottom. The back is mesh. This is because, to keep your hands cool, because especially if you're riding in our country, there are not many circumstances and where you need a lot of winter protection. So yeah, as everyday gloves, these are the best pair of gloves you can find. One issue with these is these are not CE certified. So if you're really keen on getting CE certified gloves, these are not for you. These cost about 3200 rupees, and these have the silicone patch also. I have one small issue with these gloves. That is, the fastening mechanism is pretty sloppy. It doesn't comfortably get too tight, and see, yeah, this is the problem. So the fastening mechanism could have been a little better. I put it all the way tight. If I put it tighter, it does not get tighter without folding this frame. But it is so easy to pull off. It doesn't hold securely. And in terms of comfort, this is very comfortable because of not being 100% leather. This mesh is very useful. But at night, if you're riding in the cold, it becomes a little too cold for my liking. But yeah, these are not advertised as winter gloves, so you can't expect them to be winter gloves. The pores on the leather help with ventilation, especially in summers. Another important thing is underneath the sliders, you need some amount of cushioning so that when you hit the ground on this, you don't want the slider itself hurting your palm here. So the cushion, the padding under the slider here, if you can see, is very good. So these are the Reise Ostra gloves at about 3200. On Amazon, at times you can get them for a little cheaper, but usually this is the price. Next up, my favorite gloves in terms of the looks. These are the Royal Enfield MX Pros. These cost 3500 rupees, and these are the best gloves for city use. Technically, they're marketed as MX gloves or dual sport gloves, where you can ride them on road and off road, like touring and off roads. I wouldn't wear these off road because of the slider, because if you fall on hard surfaces like maybe a stone or a boulder, this thing will hurt your palm. And I wouldn't ride with these on longer highway tours because fabric, all over fabric. I forgot to tell you something about these gloves. These have a pinky protection, like they don't allow the pinky to bend too far, but they don't lock the pinky here. Like there is no pinky bridge. That is the same issue with this. Nothing to protect the pinky. But we have soft knuckle protection here. And all this protection is also pretty comfortable and protective. We have leather in some places where you're likely to get abrasion from the road, like the palm slider area, the thumb area, and a little bit on the fingers. And among all these gloves, if you talk about the touch compatibility, these gloves are the best, hands down. So, and the securing, like I talked about for the Reise Ostras, the mechanism to secure this is just perfect. See, this doesn't go off at all, like how hard I am yanking it pretty hard, but it goes only a little bit. This is actually staying here. It comes off a little unless it is full gauntlet gloves. You cannot prevent the gloves from being yanked away, but yeah, you get the idea. Compared to the Reise Ostras, you see how hard this is to pull off. And again, this and this, both of them have a silicone patch here for, to make it easier to grip the throttle. This is CE certified, and I guess this is the only CE certified MX gloves in the Indian market from Indian brands currently. You have many from Alpine Stars, maybe Dionysi and those stuff, and the off-road brands maybe like Ace or something like that. But among the Indian brands at 3500, getting CE certified riding gloves with knuckle protection and sliders is a pretty big deal. So because of the sliders and the fabric and the soft protection and the comfort and the flexibility, if I am not riding rocky terrain, maybe I'll wear these off-roads, but for the city, these are the best gloves because the cloth helps the flexibility, the textile helps with the flexibility, ventilation, and better control on your brake and clutch. You are not too inflexible with your fingers with these gloves. These cost 3500 and these are the Royal Enfield MX Pro. You get them in grey if you want something sober. I'll put a photo of my dad's MX Pros here. And you get them in green, olive green. If you want a full set which matches this color, Royal Enfield has a jacket and pant combination also. Last up, we have my favorite gloves. I have joked a lot of times about this feeling like I'm holding my girlfriend's hand because of how comfortable it fits. This is full leather, or at least a major portion of it is leather. You can see the distribution of materials here. Goat leather, polyester, polyurethane, and other stuff which I can't pronounce. The outer shell is what it is talking about. So you can see the parts like this has polyester here. There are bits of, silicone here, and the Velcro, all that stuff has polyester. Coming to protection, this is the safest gloves in all these. And in the Indian market, this and the Viaterra Grid are two of the best full gauntlet gloves you can get under 7,000 to 8,000 rupees. Of course, you can go for brands like Alpine Stars, Dionysi. They're there always, but they're pretty expensive and offer similar protection. I wouldn't say they are worse, but yeah. Again, this comes with, as you can see, CE level 1 certification for the whole gloves and the knuckle protection also. Separately, the knuckle protection is CE level 2 certified, and the glove itself as a unit is certified to CE level 1. And you have a palm slider. Obviously, best thing is this one. See, your finger is completely protected here. In case you fall, you see this finger is easier, more prone to going away, and thereby causing fractures in this area or something, which is very painful. So but this finger is not that prone to going away, like shifting that side. So what the concept of pinky bridge does is it attaches your pinky to this finger and prevents from moving away. So I'll cut the video here and back to when I'm wearing it. Yeah, this has dual closure, so 2 velcros. Talk about this in a minute. So yeah, this is impossible to get off you. The only way this thing is going off your body is your whole hand going off your body, which is not likely. So yeah, this. And coming to the comparison between this and the Viaterra Grid, if you can see, I have, slightly thin and long palms. So the Viaterra Grid is more suitable for a little stoutier fingers, and felt the Rhinox Advento feels better for my kind of palm, Both of them are equally protective. Both of them have CE certification. Both of them are full leather, full gauntlet, sliders, double closure, protection, knuckles, everything is the same. Only the fit and, the colors may be changed, but yeah, you can get any of them. I personally recommend these because I felt comfortable with these. The stitch and the fitting seemed a little uncomfortable for the Viaterra Grid Mark III. So here you can see we have carbon fiber. They say this is original carbon fiber, and this costs, the whole glove costs about 7,000, like 6,300. So I would believe at least a little part of this is actual carbon fiber. This is a slider for your wrist, and this is housed in a TPU section. The sliders are Rhinox's homegrown fast R sliders, and this is not a slider, this is just foam protection. Two things that are better in the Viaterra grid, that is the Nox SPS palm slider, the scaphoid protection system or something, the SPS sliders, that is more reputed than the Rhinox's homegrown one. But I wouldn't call these bad, but these seem a little rubbery and less plasticky. So I'm a little worried about these, slightly maybe gripping the tarmac if you fall. So these gloves are perfect for touring and track racing, of course. Unless you have a bike that can push up to 200, 250, 300 kmph on track, I would recommend these gloves to you without any questions. The best part about the Advento Pro in specific is it being leather fully and still being very comfortable. You can see how flexible it feels, but it is leather, so it is protecting you from abrasion. But the thing is, I bought them from a physical shop and immediately wore them. It took about 5 minutes, maybe 2-3 minutes to get used to this. Usually full leather gloves have a big break-in period, maybe a couple of days or maybe a few 100 kilometers, but these felt comfortable from the word go. I literally cannot stop talking about these gloves, but to keep the video length, manageable, I'll have to stop here. Silicone grippy section, obviously the 6300 pair doesn't need that mentioned. Protection here is very good. My issue with these gloves are this protection is sloppy and pretty cheap feeling, like already got pressed. I wore them for like a few thousand kilometers, that's it. But these are pretty firm, pretty solid, pretty protective. That's all I can say. Yeah, I talked about the Pinky Bridge soft knuckle protection. This is D3O. So it is soft to feel here, but when on impact it becomes hard. That's how D3O works. And dual closure. Yeah, I'll talk about this. So if you're wearing a jacket, you can put the sleeve in through this and leave this loose so that the wind won't go into your jacket sleeve if you're riding in the cold. But if you want the wind going into your hand, you can tighten it up like this and put the jacket over so that the wind goes through into your sleeve and keeps your hand a little cool. This has perforation here, so it does not feel too hot. There is a little bit of vents or whatever you can call these here. I really don't know the purpose of this, but maybe it is for flexibility. But there are pores all over here also in the leather. So this will keep you pretty cool. I have ridden with these in about 40 to 42 degrees also. In the city while getting to the highway. And I had no problems with it. So which one would I recommend and what should you consider while buying gloves? First up is the CE certification, because that is a clear indicator to say that there is some testing that took place to say the gloves are safe, and it is not just the brand advertising safety. Then we have palm sliders. These are a must. Without palm sliders, do not buy gloves unless you're going on heavy off-road conditions where there are boulders and stones. If you're riding maybe dunes or trails, these work pretty well. But if there are stones and you might fall on stones, don't get palm sliders. You can get something like the Viaterra Roost or the Rhinox Gravel, or I'll put the name of a few off-road gloves if you're actually going off-road. This can be manageable off-road, but the protection is too flimsy to recommend for off-roads. So I basically wouldn't recommend these gloves to anyone. I bought them as a mistake, and I can never have enough gloves. So this will just add to the number in my collection. One category of gloves that I missed is full leather gloves of short length. So these gloves are full leather, full gauntlet. These gloves are short cuff ones, but half gauntlet. There is one category of gloves that are full leather and short cuff, like the Viaterra Shifter Whole Shot Pro, and Rhinox Air GT and Rhinox Tornado. The best part about Rhinox Tornado is it is of this size, but comes with pinky protection and a palm slider. The Air GT and the Shifter series and Whole Shot and all that are like this. They don't have the pinky bridge, but the Tornado is the only gloves in the Indian market that comes with pinky protection, pinky bridge, and a short cuff, which is something I really like. I don't have them right now. I might buy them later, or I might just use these because I really can't have enough gloves, but I don't have enough money. So that's a pretty sketchy situation. So if you have watched till here, it means a lot. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, drop a like, share it with your friends who are thinking of buying a bike and would need gear. And I'm planning to make a similar series on helmets, jackets and pants, and maybe even boots. I did make a video on boots, but maybe a more detailed things to consider type video on boots. So thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye.